Good evening, welcome back to Gearbox RC. Now those of you that have followed the channel for a while will probably remember a few videos ago I done a video on hooking back up my old schoolmate Polka, a mate of mine that used to race RC cars with back in the 80s. He very kindly brought round his old RC cars for me. So in the previous video I documented how the Manta Ray that he gave us will be getting rebuilt and sent back to his son, and I'm going to build up the Mud Blaster for myself. Now it's an original 1989 Mud Blaster, complete with a lot of mud. It's all there. It's been very heavily used. It needs a little bit of TLC. Now I'm not going to go with a full restoration on this one. It's not going to be a shelf queen, it's going to be a runner. I've got a Mud Blaster as a shelf queen. This one's going to be taken back to all the sites that we used to go when we were kids in the 80s and release it back on its native environment. I'm going to go and have some fun with this one. So we're literally just going to give it all a good stripping down, clean everything up, service all the shock absorbers, the differential, potentially fit modern electronics, because I'm getting way too old for me chasing after cars that go AWOL when the speed controller jams in full forward position, goes running off across the car park. So probably going to fit a hobby wing in this or similar. I'm probably going to also fit the Palmer dual cyclone stock motor that it come with. That's going to be a nice little upgrade. So this is just going to be a little video documenting the strip down, the clean up, and the rebuild of this thing. We're going to give it a new lease of life, and we're going to let it back out into its stomping ground that we had back in the day. We're going to take it up to the same parks and playing fields that we used to run all those years ago. So watch this space, enjoy the ride. We're stripping away the old chassis, and I keep finding these bits of sellotape stuck all over it. Very, very old sellotape. It's as brittle as anything. It just sort of crumbles away, and couldn't work out why the whole chassis was stuck with sellotape. It was all over all the holes and apertures. So I messaged Polka. I said to him, "Why is it covered in sellotape, mate?" He goes, "Well, that's when we used to go mud bog racing in the sewage ditch, isn't it?" I said, "Oh, yeah." He said, "Yeah, we used to wrap up our servos and manual speed controller and all our electronics in balloons, and then tie them up with a tie wrap to keep the water out of them. And then we waterproof the rest of the chassis by sticking sellotape over all the holes." Oh, dear. It's amazing the things we used to get up to back in the day. Mud bog racing in the sewage ditch. Never done me any harm. Onwards and upwards. Right, guys and girls, here we have it. She's stripped down. All the parts are off. Fully dismantled, other than the shocks and the gearbox. I'm purposely going to attack the gearbox when I attack the gearbox, because that is fiddly and there's loads of little awkward parts in that. So I'm going to order a new gear bag for that before I even start taking that apart. Same with the shocks. I shall take them apart and clean them up and service them when I'm ready. So in the meantime, all the plastics will go into a nice hot soapy bath, give them a good clean up. I will prepare a nice little WD-40 bath for all the metal parts, give them a good soak, and then a clean up with a toothbrush and a wire brush, quick rinse off, and then a dry up, clean and dry them all down so they don't go rusty. Obviously the motor won't be getting used and the manual speed control won't be getting used. Like I say, the gearbox is going to have to be rebuilt. Them gearboxes are bad at the best of times, so I'm going to order a new gear set for them. Wheels and tyres, I'm going to separate the wheels and tyres if I can, give them a good wash. The rubber is very soft and it actually still smells of proper RC rubber, which is all good. You don't expect that after 35 years. The thing that comes across that's really surprised me, I've done many rebuilds, many rebuilds over the last 4 or 5 years of 1980s Tamiya and Kyo shows, and it never went as smoothly as what this did. This car wants to live. Honestly, I've taken it all apart. All the original screws are there. None of the screws had stripped their threads, which I was amazed at. Everything was, I mean, credit to how we used to look after our cars when we were kids. Everything was really nicely greased up, so nothing had seized. There's very little rust on the hardware. And other than a little bit of a repair on the chassis here, which looks a bit crude, but that was either my dad or Neil's granddad, R.I.P. Neil's granddad. One of them has done a rather unsightly repair on that chassis, but it seems to have worked. And other than that, none of the plastic is cracked. None of the ABS has perished. And I think with a good clean-up, we'll be good to go. So I'm going to call it a night there. I'm going to crack on with that next time I get a rainy day. Start on the cleaning process, and we'll let things roll. Watch this space. All the car's been stripped down, cleaned up, all the components have been serviced other than the gearbox. Now these ORV chassis gearboxes are absolutely notoriously bad. So I haven't opened it up yet. I've ordered a new set of gears for this, bevel gears, the counter gear, new spur gear, and we're going to replace them without even looking at what the others are like, because there's a good chance that they're likely to be shot. And I'd rather replace it all now whilst the gearbox is off the car, because it's quite a fiddly old job at the best of times. So we're going to start stripping the gearbox, get some new gears in there, and then we can start reassembling the car again. Onwards and upwards. An important tip For those that don't know, when you're rebuilding the old Tamiyas, when you first put the screw in, go anti-clockwise for a few turns. Then you will find the pre-existing thread in the plastic. Stops you boring out a new hole in the plastic and threading it all. So just a little rotation backwards first once you've found the hole, and you'll find it naturally seats into place, and you can tighten it up. Yoda's top tip. Right then, guys, I love ORV chassis Tamiya cars, but their gearboxes are an absolute ball ache, to put it politely. I've removed the old counter gear, differential gear, pardon me, and bevel gears. They actually all look very good, but obviously I've bought new gear set to go into it, so just to be on the safe side. Now, these gearboxes are a nightmare. They were originally designed for the Frog, the Subaru Brat, and the early rally cars that use this platform, and they work relatively well. But in '86, when Tamiya decided to bring out the Blackfoot, why was the camera going out of focus? Yeah, in '86, when Tamiya decided to bring out the Blackfoot and the Monster Beetle, and later on the Mud Blaster, in '89, they used the same gearbox, and the gearbox did not like the extra stress on the axles caused by the big wheels from the monster trucks. What basically happens is the gearbox is sandwiched together with these two metal plates. The gears all sort of sit inside it as a sandwich as such, and the large wheels put a lot of stress on the differential gear and all the internal gears, and as you accelerate, they jump, and they jump upwards, and what happens is they push the plates out and they start skipping cogs, and you get that horrible clicky grinding noise that anyone from back in the day will remember. There was a problem in '86. It's still a problem now. When Tamiya re-released the monster trucks recently, the Blackfoot and the Monster Beetle 2015 and 16, surprise, surprise, they didn't address this issue, and they still play up. I think I went through 3 stock gearboxes on my Monster Beetle within 6 months when I first built that. The ideal solution is an MIP ball diff. Absolutely bulletproof. You can put any power through that there, and I've got that on my Runner Beetle, and I put some pretty beefy motors through that, and it's handled it. But they're expensive. So this is a little hack. If you're only going to be running low powered motors, I mean, say stock silver can up to, or down to, should I say, a torque tuned or a sports tuned, little hack, you can prolong the life of the gearbox, and that is by putting a washer or a little shim. Now, how am I going to show this? Just between these two sections. So you've got the plastic section which holds the bearing, and then you've got the SA6 bevel gear. If you sandwich one of these eBay notification, sandwich one of these washers in between there, it helps tighten up the gearbox and stops the cogs jumping. It works well, providing you're not running too much power through it. So literally it's just a matter of, where are we? Let's have a look. There we go. That is it. So that's in there. This is hard to film and do at the same time. So that's the B2 plastic section. You've got the bearing inside. Pop the washer over the top, and then that goes directly into the differential gear, just in there. So it goes literally in between them two sections, and it's a bit of a it's a godsend of a fix. I'm going to be doing this, like I say, now on Porker's Mud Blaster while I put in the new gears, and I've had considerable success with this in the past, so Yoda's top tip. Right guys, I've rebuilt the motor, cleaned up the commutator, gave it a good clean out and greased the bearings, or the bearings, given the manual speed controller service. Now I'm not going to be using the manual speed control when I run it, but I'm going to be putting a Hobbywing 1060 in, but I've left the manual speed control in for nostalgic purposes. One issue, I couldn't get the pinion gear off the silver can that was originally fitted to it. The grub screw is stripped, so I've had to order a new pinion gear, so there's no pinion gear in it at the moment. But listen to how smooth this motor sounds now. Where are we? That is delightful. And obviously the manual speed control is working as well. Smells of the 80s. Delightful. And here we have it. Porker's fully restored 1989 Mud Blaster. Delightful. What a turnaround. Oh, that is awesome, isn't it? I really enjoy doing a restoration. They're a lot more challenging and a lot more time consuming than doing a new build. Obviously you've got to strip the car down first, then you've got to clean up all the components, every single component, check for damages, repair anything that's damaged, all the new parts, then assemble it all as if you would a new build kit. But it's such a sense of achievement, bringing a vintage car back to life again, bringing it back to its full glory from back in the day. Yeah, it's rewarding to say the least. So it's now all finished. I haven't put any radio gear in it yet, but that is Porker's Mud Blaster, fully restored, with a Shelf Queen body. And of course, as I said before, that's not what this is about. This project wasn't about turning it into a Shelf Queen. I wanted to put the Shelf Queen body on to showcase just how well this car has come up, but we won't be needing this. So let's remove the body and let's show you the chassis. This is what matters. Totally original. I've used all the original parts. The only parts that have been changed are the gears in the gearbox. Everything else is totally original, including the little bodge on the chassis that his granddad done from back in the day. As I said before, I wanted to keep this car as original as possible to maintain the memories and the nostalgia associated with it. So there's nothing been changed on this car other than the gearbox. Everything's fully working, and I'm sure you'll agree it has come up absolutely delightful We put the original Palmer dual cyclone motor in it that we used to use back in the day. That's all been serviced and he's running absolutely beautifully. Things were built to last in the 80s, weren't they? I wonder how many of the modern RC stuff, the brushless motors and stuff we're using these days, will still be running in 35 years' time. So yeah, it's come out an absolute treat. It's probably one of the easiest restorations I've done, in all fairness. As I said before, all the screws were intact. There was no threaded plastic in the chassis. The tyres weren't split. The electronics are all working. The shocks are lovely. It was plain sailing, in all honesty. So all I need to do now is to put a Hobbywing 1060 and a modern receiver in it, and we're going to take it out for a little test drive. Myself and Paulka used to drive these cars along with Daz and his Blackfoot over in the local playgroup Village Hall car park. And Paulka used to live right next door to the Village Hall, so we literally used to come out with our charged battery packs from his house, straight across the road, straight into the Village Hall car park. Now, at the time, the car park used to be gravelly, dusty, sort of black, really mucky, loose surface. And as soon as you had my Midnight Pumpkin, his Mud Blaster, and Dazzy's Blackfoot, there used to literally be plumes of dust used to fly across the main road, and the cars used to have to slow down. There was such a dust storm getting kicked up. So once I've got the radio gear in here, I'm going to take it out for its first run in well over 30 years. That is obviously reliant on Taylor. I need Taylor to come out and actually film the video. So Taylor's a little bit work shy. He don't like the cold. He don't like the wet. In fact, he don't like doing much at all, in all honesty. So as soon as I can get Taylor out to do the camera duties, we'll get this out for his first run. But I'm really happy with this. It's come out really nice. Took quite a few hours to bring it back to this standard. So there's only one thing for it now. As I said before, I wanted to keep the persona of this vehicle intact. All the memories I had from driving our RC cars back in the 80s with Paulka and Daz, I wanted to keep all their memories there. That's why I didn't replace the chassis. Obviously, with the little brake that was on the chassis there, I've left the repair on there. It would have been quite easy to replace the chassis, but I wanted to keep his granddad's repairs in there, so his granddad's memory lives on. I wanted to keep it as original as possible. So bearing that in mind, like I say, rather than using that shelf queen body that I presented it with, we're going to put the original body back on it. Here we go. Look at that. Oh, that's delightful. Here we go. Let's pop this on. There you have it. Paulka's 1989 Mud Blaster. Now, I denied about this body for a long time. My OCD wanted me to clean it up. It would have been so easy to remove the stickers, rub it all back, fill it, respray it, put new stickers on. But I didn't want to lose the memories. I wanted to keep all the dings, all the dents. They all tell a story. I mean, that big dent in the bonnet, the scuffs, the cracked windscreen, slightly broken tailgate. It all tells a story. It's all part of the history of this car. So I wanted to keep all that intact. So we're going to be running on this original body. In fact, we're going to keep the original 1980s mud as well, because I think that's part of the persona of the car, and I don't want to lose that, in all honesty. So, yeah, we're good to go now. Can't wait to get it up for its first run in 30 years. So, enjoyable little project. Obviously, those of you that watched the unboxing of these vehicles that he brought round, I've also got his Manta Ray, which he bought after the Mud Blaster. And the Manta Ray is in a real bad way. That car is very poorly. I've been checking it out over the last few nights, and that car's going to need a lot of work. So that's going to be the next project. I'm going to strip all that back and try and rebuild that. And then I'm going to donate that back to his son because it's only right. I've got a couple of top forces. I don't need a manta ray. So I'm going to fully rebuild the manta ray for him. If this video does well enough and people obviously enjoy it, then I shall document the manta ray rebuild as well and put that one out. So we'll see how we get on anyway. Thanks again for everyone that's watching, everyone that's subscribed, everyone that's commenting. Do enjoy chatting with you all in the comments section. And also, yeah, thanks for Polka for donating your 2 old RC cars for me. They've obviously gone to a good home, mate. So, excellent. Thanks for watching, guys and girls. Till next time, Gearbox RC, signing out.